What's going on, chat? What's happening? Happy Wednesday. Thanks for joining us for another live Q&A. And yeah, this month was a little different. We actually had two this month. If you missed last month's, earlier this month, I had on my good friend. Who did I even have on? Now I'm like blanking. Oh gosh, this was only a couple weeks ago. This is what happens when you drink beer. Last month I had Cityscape Dennis on, which was totally fun. He's a great DIY guy, really gets into making his own equipment, which was super fun. And I really had fun having him on and learning like how he does things. But today I got a great pair of guests where I'm splitting with Tradition, and I got two people on today. Before we get them on, I got a few housekeeping things. And of course, I want to say what's up to people in the chat. I see Tiger Pat's in here, Patrick Sandy, TJF, what's going on? Northwest. I was told there would be girls. Yeah, we're doing it, guys. We're bringing diversity to the channel. Let's go. Let's see who else is in here. Stephen Plass, what's going on? Just here for the MVCs. Nice. Casey Metallic, yo. The Chug Dude, what's going on? You made it to live. Thanks for coming here. You might notice up here in the corner, we got a sub count. We are 5 subscribers away from 70,000, which is absolutely insane. So I'm going to keep it up. Maybe we'll hit it tonight. We'll see. If we do, we might have to do an NBC like Stephen Plass says. El Rorito 1, what's going on? Brew'Sho, cheers from Arizona. Nice. What's going on? Speaking of 70K and almost being there, we're almost to 75K. And if you've been following for a while, we did a giveaway at 25,000 subscribers and at 50,000 subscribers. So I'm thinking if you all are interested, we might do a 75K giveaway. So keep an eye out for that. That would probably be we'll do that live stream in replace of like a monthly live stream. I do have a couple guests lined up for the next couple months, so we'll see. It depends on when I hit that, but keep your eyes peeled for some giveaway info. I'll have to reach out to some people and see if we can get some cool gifts for you guys. USA GI, what's going on, man? What's up, Trent from Madeira? Yeah, let me know where you guys are from and what you're drinking tonight. I have a bit of my Oktoberfest here. I actually need to refill it, but maybe before our guests get here, I'll refill real quick. But it's the same Oktoberfest that I have brewed on the channel before, so if you haven't, be sure to check out that recipe. Atomic Hops. Yes. Oh, you're talking about... So I got a poll going. So Atomic Hops says, yes, I'm going to GABF. He's got 2 beers in the finals. That's awesome. Yeah, I put a poll out if you haven't seen it. Are you going to GABF/AHA event this year? So far, 67% of you are not going. I'm not going either. I was kind of disappointed that it wasn't a full-blown homebrew conference like it was in the previous years. Last year was my first year, and I actually met our guests tonight at that event. So, but hopefully they bring it back next year, and they bring it back even better. Let's see. Other things, last few things, if you haven't seen the last video, it was the Tahuino, which is a unique corn, I would say it's like a corn beer, basically using masa and sugar to ferment naturally and create this really interesting, sour, savory, sweet, one of the most unique fermentations I've ever done. So definitely, if you're interested in fermented drinks like I am, be sure to check that one out. And let's see. I think that's about it. Real quick shout out to the channel members. Let me hide this live sub count. These people keep the live stream ad free. So thank you to all these people, especially new channel members, Regicide Brewing and USA GI 1969. Good to see you in the chat. Oh, see, looks like we got Homebrew Happy Hours in the chat as well. Nice. He was our guest a while back, and I was recently on his podcast. Just last week, I was on his podcast, catching up on things. So if you haven't seen that, I posted about it in the community tab. All right. That's all great. That's all fun. But it's time to move on. I got some really great guests here. If you're not familiar with the Brew'd Up Podcast, it is one of my favorite podcasts. It is hosted by Tyler and Laurie, and I would describe it as like just hanging out with two of your best friends and just chatting with beer. I was lucky to be on an episode, and Tyler is an amazing brewer. She has now become a pro brewer, and Laurie is the queen of cider. If you have any questions about cider, she is the go-to, and I'm excited to talk to her a bit about it. Let's get them in here, the guests and the hosts of Brew'd Up Podcast, Tyler and Laurie. Hello. Hey, how's it going?
Good.
Doing well.
What kind of words, dude?
Yeah.
Yeah, like that was Prash.
Of course. I felt so like backing things up. We met at HomebrewCon, and I was kind of starstruck when I first met you guys. It was like, well, you like always hear voices. You don't really put the faces to voices, and so it was so awesome to meet you. And you were even nicer in person, like getting to know you and hang out with you. So I was stoked when you invited me on the show, and I've been like trying to get you guys to come on here with me for a while. So I'm glad to finally have you here.
I'm glad we're here. And the reason we weren't holding out because we're like special or anything. We were just like busy, tired, traveling.
Life. Yeah, for sure. So for people that aren't familiar with Brew'd Up Podcast, why don't you tell us a little bit about what it is, what do you guys do, and you guys have now on season 6 of the show?
Yes. Oh my God. Yeah, Brew'd Up Podcast, kind of like you said, laid back. We want to keep it informative, but also fun for home brewers, professional brewers, and just people that like beer or cider or any fermented product, beverage, etc. Adult bev, like we call it.
Mhm.
And so yeah, we just like to have rad guests on and maybe pick their brains about a certain topic, or just kind of go into their background and whatever industry or part of the industry I guess that they're in. And I don't know, it's been fun. Like for me, it's always fun to tap into people's brains and see how they do things and how they got started. And on the opposite coin, it's like me and Laurie just homies and being silly and like I don't know, having fun. So it's cool.
Yeah, it's like, have you ever I don't know, homebrewers are nerds, and we really could sit around and talk about all kinds of things anecdotally. We didn't start the podcast because we're like, we're experts or whatever, but it's just the chit chat is so good. We wanted to share. So it's been super fun. And the support, especially from like people like you, it's just been really nice and invaluable. So thank you.
Of course. What I've loved is like, because I kind of went back after I met you, and I was like, all right, let me listen to even more episodes from the beginning. And it's kind of fun to like, I mean, you guys were having lots of fun in those early days, but it was cool to like see how you guys like progress, because you were very much taking it from a perspective of like, we're not experts. We're kind of learning along the way and sharing the what we learn in our I guess experience. Do you feel like having the podcast has kind of pushed you to become better brewers?
Absolutely.
Yeah, there's definitely like an accountability element. But I like when I go back, if you have like a homebrew conversation with someone you're usually drinking, like at a club meeting or at so record them so we can go back, and you're like, yeah, I listen to my own podcast, but it's because I have like really smart people on, and I want to go back and remember like what they said or whatever.
Yeah, same. Like we've talked to some awesome people.
Mm-hmm.
And going back to like when I went to Denver and talked to the people at Bierstadt and Cohesion, like that was so fun for me to like listen to them and hear about how they do their stuff. So that's been one I've revisited, and quite a few of them. But yeah, it's good. We get like good tidbits of information, and it wants you. It like, I don't know, it pushes me to try new things in my career and stuff. So
for sure. Yeah, you've had some like pretty big names on. I was looking at it, like John Palmer, Andy Carter, Annie Johnson, Flora Brewing, Denny Kahn, Drew Beecham. Like those are like pretty much the biggest names in the home brewing sphere.
Those are our besties. We love those guys.
Dr. Carter. Andy, dude.
I don't know if you feel like this, but like when I started my channel, I was like, oh, I'm just messing around in my like garage, and now like I've become friends with like you or like other people that are prominent in like the homebrewing world, and I feel like I've kind of like infiltrated into this like society.
It's a cult, dude.
Yeah.
It's a cult.
Which of the like the big name guests like really stand out to you, or was there like an episode in particular that really, maybe each of you have a different one or something like?
That's a good question. Laurie, do you have one off your head?
Yeah, it was, we asked, first of all, meeting John Palmer was super easy. We were like obviously like fangirling, but we met up with him at HomebrewCon. He was really approachable, and he was like such a sweetie pie, and he was like, yes, of course I'll do your podcast. I mean, it was just like the easiest ask, and we like hung out with him for the rest of the night, and we just had such a good time. So that really stood out to me, that these kind of like what you said, like you hear people's voices or you read what they're writing and you're connecting with them in this level, but then you meet them in real life and they're just, regular people. So it was really wonderful, that experience.
For sure.
Yeah, it was funny. We asked him, what do you want to talk about?
Oh yeah.
And because he goes on everything and talks about water, and we're like, what do you like really want to talk to us
Right.
about?
Yeah.
And he said, beer maturation. We're like, okay, cool. Let's do it, And that was he's super technical.
Yeah.
That's the kind of stuff I like to listen to. And you could really tell he was like very passionate and really wanted to talk about it. So I think he had a good time. I mean, I hope he did.
Yeah. I'm sure he has like so much knowledge, and he does kind of get like pinned as like the water guy. So I'm sure he appreciates like talking about something different.
Yeah, he's super generous and super patient. That was the other thing that struck me about John Palmer.
Nice.
And
you
he
really
still
could
just to talk to us after like I was trashed around him at HomebrewCon. Like, not, I mean, look, it was HomebrewCon. It was like after hours kind of deal.
Yeah.
But yeah, he was still down to talk to us after that. So I was like, cool.
Nice, yeah. Speaking of HomebrewCon, are you guys going to GABF this year?
I'm not. No.
For me, not in the cards this time, but I'm really curious to see like how it works out. I know that they made some changes for whatever reason. I get it, so I'm really hopeful that it's like successful, and I hope to go to the next one.
Yeah. Is it because they didn't make you host a party like they did last year?
No, they're not letting us host a party. So
they didn't reach out to us. So whatever. No, I think I remember when they announced that they were going to combine HomebrewCon and JBF at the last one, and everyone was like, "Huh, okay, interesting."
Yeah.
So I'm not shocked, because you were just saying the percentage of people that are probably not going to go. I'm not super surprised that that's the current outcome. My bosses are not paying for me to go to GABF, so I will not be doing that, unfortunately. Yeah. But maybe next year.
Yeah. Hopefully next year they comes back even better. That'd be sweet.
Yeah.
I actually think I mean, no shade to pro brewers, but I think it's a great space to put those two things together. I think it's a great matchup, and I think that a lot can be learned from both people. Like, it's a great commingling of groups. So I really hope that it's successful and it's like harnessed. And like I said, I do want to go to the next one.
Yeah. If I'm not mistaken, I'm pretty sure HomebrewCon or GABF was a spinoff of HomebrewCon.
Probably.
Maybe.
I don't know, but
interesting. Actually, Homebrew Happy Hour, Josh is in here. He says that's the secret. Get your boss to pay for you to go to GABF.
It is. Hi, Josh.
Josh, can he pay for us too, Todd?
Yeah, right.
Come on, I know you guys have a booth. We can like
get the girls in there.
Right. I'll come shoot some content for you. Just let me know.
We'll pull your calls, Josh. Don't worry about it.
So switching the subject a little bit, and actually TJF has a comment here. He goes, "How do you come up with cider recipes?" And I'm wondering, Laurie, is that a cider you're cracking right now?
No, this is a sour. Cider recipes. I don't really have any. I have a few. But I really just I just do yeast and juice. I don't do too much.
Do you have like go-to recipes that you always do, or are you constantly experimenting?
God, constantly. I really took a break I didn't make a cider for maybe like almost a year. But just the other day I made 3.
Nice.
So I'll be pouring one at, oh, it just bubbled. I'll be pouring one in Long Beach on November 2nd. It is one that I make a lot. I call it Ménage à Trois. It's apple, champagne yeast, and it's dry hopped. So to me, it's kind of like champagne, cider, and a hoppy beer all mixed, a 3-way.
Sounds amazing. Yeah.
Yeah, it's pretty good. That is one that I do make quite often. Another one I made is apple and cherry, and I did a mix of champagne yeast with a little Belgian yeast. And then another one I did just direct apple juice, and I saved this this Spanish cider called Son of Man. I saved the dregs in a couple cans of it, and I pitched it. So with a bunch of yeast nutrient, I don't know if I'm doing it right, but it is bubbling slightly. So I think that might take a little bit longer.
What made you want to try that with the yeast dregs? Have you done that before with success, or?
Yeah, but not really. Like I have, but I have done it. But usually once I do it, I'll at the last minute, I'll freak out and just put like a little extra wine yeast or something in there. And so, yeah, I've never really done it like this before. I'm hoping.
Yeah. Are you brewing them now because it's fall and that's just like when you think about cider, or you just missing
Well,
it?
I committed to do this. I committed to pour at this event in Long Beach, the We Love Long Beach. I guess it's a homebrew fest. Shout out to that organization. So obviously cider is so easy. So I was like, well, I'm doing one. And then the other 2 that I mentioned, they're just 1 gallons. So there's like little like a little fart factory going on over here in the living room. We'll see.
Fart factory. That's great.
Yeah. And this thing that I just poured is a Celador.
Oh, nice.
But from like a really long time ago, like 2021.
Oh, you just been holding out?
Yeah, I was looking in the back. I didn't realize I have it, but it was a rustic wild ale with Bonnie Royal apricots.
Oh.
And bottle conditioned with Chardonnay must. It's called Pantomime.
Interesting. That sounds good. Yeah, you'll have to give us some tasty notes.
Tight.
For people that are like that have never brewed a cider, because I know a lot of people on my channel or that subscribe, they'll experiment with cider, but there's a lot of people that don't experiment with cider. Do you have any like tips for people that are just getting started into the cider making world?
Honestly, I think it's a little bit easier than beer. So if you have never even made beer, try a cider. I use champagne yeast, so it's you don't need to have much temperature control. That's sort of the beauty of it, and that's kind of what drew me in. It actually, for a little while, made brewing like difficult to understand because making a cider was so freaking easy. And I think brewing beer is a little bit more difficult, at least the way I was approaching it. Mm-hmm. So yeah, highly recommend. Just buy like a little stopper, an airlock, buy the fancy juice in the glass thing, and buy a packet of yeast and take it from there. But buy some sanitizer. You'll need that too.
Yeah.
But
well, the good thing is like if you're brewing beer, you probably have most of this stuff already, right? You just got to get the juice.
Yeah. There was, during the pandemic, and just, I feel like, yes, we were all at home, but I think everyone's lives really slowed down. So there was a lot of room for home brewing. Mm-hmm. I'm sure you all can agree, but I would just make a cider. Like I was on like a cycle. So I'd make a beer, and then during the boil, I would put together a cider. So I really had, and then when I was like bottling the beer, packaging the beer, I was also packaging the cider, because half the battle is getting everything out and washing it.
Yeah.
So.
Right. Yeah. I'm gearing up to make a couple ciders myself. I'm actually doing a sizer. Have you ever done a sizer? It's like half mead, half or apple cider.
Yeah, I've done a sizer. Actually, there's a little honey in one of these, so I guess it's technically
Okay, yeah.
a sizer. Yeah, super fun. Good on you.
Yeah, yeah. And then I always wanted to do like a naturally fermented cider, which I know it can be like a big risk. Have you ever tried anything like that before?
Do you mean like capturing
Just
yeast
like
outside
maybe
or?
just like
Oh,
crush some apples and let like whatever yeast is present.
yes. I have done that before. I didn't crush the apples myself, but I've purchased raw juice
Okay,
and
yeah.
just I've let it go and it was really awesome.
Yeah. Okay,
Yeah.
cool. Yeah, I'm thinking about heading up to Julian is like the closest like orchard in San Diego.
You know, I'm sorry to cut you
No,
off.
you're fine.
Yeah, I know Julian, but you know Raging Cider?
Yes, because you recommend. I was when I was on your podcast, you
Oh, okay.
recommended them, and I was like, okay, I have to go check them out. Yeah, I went and checked them out. They're really good in San Marcos.
Yeah, if you start I was DMing with the guy a few years ago and he just let me know the last he had like a bunch of apples and he let me buy some juice off of him. He was just crushed it all for me right there.
Oh no way.
Wait, Tyler, you with me? Remember?
Yeah, I remember that. Yeah, we literally watched them juice the apples. It was crazy.
Yeah.
It's cool.
All right. Well, maybe I'll hit him up and see if I
But
can.
Julian, yeah, definitely.
Yeah,
Right
yeah,
on.
steal some juice from him. Cool. Do you is it mainly just ciders, or have you been experimenting with beer as well recently?
Yeah, I make beer too. I have a cold IPA in the fermenter
Mm,
and I have two long-term meads just doing their thing, but that's about it.
nice. Very cool.
Yeah.
What about you, Tyler? What do you? I should ask this at the beginning. You're always guys are always in your podcast asking, what's it called, like home brewery update. I should have stole your jingle to play. So what's going on? What's going on in your home brewery, Tyler, these days?
So yeah, I I don't homebrew as much as I used to, unfortunately, but I still try and make time, maybe once every like 2, 3 months or whenever I have a weekend, then I'm like, all right, I'm gonna commit,
Commendable. Mhm.
Yeah, it's summer's like kind of ending, which is nice because I brew outside and
Mm-hmm.
it can be really rough in the valley,
Yeah.
like 90s, 100 degrees. So right now I actually kegged. I made a German Pilsner here, and that was like probably a month or so ago at this point, and it's in a keg right now. It's carbonating. I've taken a couple of hits.
I'm still
It's
here.
like
Don't worry.
waiting to hear the like tone. Beep.
Yeah.
And yeah, I'm just gonna kind of like leave it alone. I've taken a couple of tugs, and I'm like, I don't think it's ready yet. So I'm gonna like probably leave it alone for a couple weeks and
Yeah.
kind of see if it loggers out and I don't know, figures itself out a little bit more.
Right. Right. Well, I mean, the reason you've been busy is you are a pro brewer now, right?
I've gone pro,
Yeah.
gone into the dark side.
Right. So it's probably hard to like feel the I guess urge to homebrew when you've been probably brewing all day or all week.
Yeah, it's like before I started working in a brewery professionally, I had talked to other brewers and they're like, yeah, I can't find time or whatever the mood to homebrew. And I'm like, I don't know. Like, I feel like I probably still could if I went pro, and now I'm here and I'm like,
I will
still
point out you probably do more home brewing than most pro brewers.
Yeah, like I think it's more of it's not a motivation thing because I definitely still love homebrewing. Like I think it's great. I have such kind of rules at work and stuff, and I can do whatever I want at home. So that part of it, it's just kind of just finding the time, I think.
Yeah. And what was like the transition like? Because you before that you were working at a homebrew shop and you had right and like just mainly doing the homebrew stuff. So what was the transition like from homebrewing to pro brewing?
It was interesting. It was pretty sudden and rapid and like a little chaotic, honestly. Because, brewing, I was brewing at home maybe for like 5 years, I think, or so before working at Shadow Grove. And like, even when I started working at Shadow Grove, I was just a beer tender. So I was doing like beer tending there and working at the homebrew store, which I was at for a couple of years. And working at the homebrew store was great. I mean, I learned so much about ingredients and just like talking to people that would come in and they're kind of setting up their stuff. And that was a super awesome experience. But yeah, I started working at Shadow Grove, and 6 months in, the owner asked me to kind of step in and like take over the brew days because he was about to have twins.
Wow.
And they knew I homebrewed and stuff, but yeah, I don't know why they like trusted me. It's just like just come in as a home brewer, like that. I think about it a lot, and it's just like it's pretty wild. But they had faith in me, and so that was it was a little bumpy, I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah.
Like it's just different, it's very different.
What was like I would say, what would you say is the biggest thing you learn, I guess? Or like, are you still learning? Do you feel like you're still learning every day?
Oh, for sure. Like I would say probably this past year has been the most transitioning as far as like, learning and kind of figuring things out, because, I'm doing more than just brewing. I'm basically managing the back of house, like brewery. So like making
Yeah.
the schedule, ordering ingredients, like trying to come up with new recipes. So I would say the biggest thing is trying to get a beer to be consistent, like as a home brewer, one little thing goes wrong and it's frustrating, obviously, like for someone like me. I'm like, oh man, like, but I could try it again next time and it doesn't have that much effect,
Right.
except on my like insanity. uh, but I work at a pretty small brewery. It's 7 barrel. Nothing's automated. So figuring out that system and how to try and make consistent products, keep our cores the same ABV, the same flavor profiles, etc. That was probably one of the biggest learning curves that I had to deal with.
Got it. And actually, Goose Frog has got a good question here. Taking it the opposite way, did your home brewing change at all after you started brewing professionally?
Absolutely. Oh my gosh. Like if I wasn't like anal before, I'm like way anal now. Like my last brew, and I was like, okay, let me like get a better pH meter. Let me kind of make sure my cleaning and sanitizing practices are way better than they were before. Cause not gonna lie, I was kind of a little bit of a lazy home brewer sometimes. So yes, I'm definitely a little bit more data kind of driven, and how I kind of move around. It's become smoother, I would say. I can think through a brew day a little bit easier now.
Yeah. Do you ever like experiment with anything at home and then try and bring it over to the pro side?
No, probably the opposite though,
Yeah.
because I brew like 2 to 3 times a week at work, which is like way more. I mean, if you can do the math, it's like, so I do try new techniques at work that, I'm like, okay, when I decide to brew at home again, maybe I'll try this with like a new hop kind of, application, or try this yeast temperature at this, blah, 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 and so on and so forth. So yeah, definitely. I would say the opposite, actually.
Cool. Let's take it back a bit. And can you, real quick, shout out to Atomic Hops Brewing. He super chatted $4.99. What's going on, man? Cheers. Appreciate you super chatting that, man. Atomic Hops has been in the chat for a while. He has a question for you guys, actually. Says, what is your favorite style, drink and brew? And he asked all three of us, actually.
Ooh.
But go ahead.
Wait, what's yours?
Me?
Yeah.
So one of my favorite styles is alt beer, actually. And my video this weekend is my alt beer recipe. Actually, I worked with Josh, Homebrew Happy Hour, because he's a big alt guy. He puts on like an alt brewing competition. So yeah, I'm excited. This video I've been like wanting to make for like the past 4 years and just finally getting around to it.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
That's cool. Alt beers are cool, but like, man, I wish they were more popular. Like we have a really solid one at Shadow Grove, and like my bosses are like, maybe not, because like it just sits and it's so freaking good though. It's so good.
Yeah. It's hard to find and it's hard to find a good one, but when you find it, you're like, oh, okay, I get it. This is unique. What about you? What are you guys' favorite brews?
I would say definitely crispy girl city. And I feel like if you've ever heard me speak, you've heard me say that a million times. So definitely lagers. Like, I have been trying to dial in a German Pilsner for forever. But like, honestly, light lager, I don't know, anything light and crisp, and like playing around with fermentation and lagering and stuff is fun for me. So yeah, that would be me.
Nice.
I would say currently I'm really into triples, but I don't come across them very often. Like, I love a good Belgian beer. And I think for brewing, I like brewing ciders and meads. They're easy.
Yeah.
Beer is like a ticking thing. A mead, it's like, leave it for 3 years, dude.
Right.
Forget about it.
It's only going to get better. Yeah.
Yeah.
Good question, Atomic Hops. All right. I was about to ask you to take us back and talk a little bit about like getting started in homebrewing, what kind of inspired each of you to get started, and then kind of leading up to maybe meeting each other and starting. What was the, anticipate, like what made you want to start the podcast? Like, what kind of drove that?
You want our love story?
I want your love story. Yes.
Our meat cute.
Our meat.
Yes. Yeah.
I'll briefly start with how I got into homebrewing. Pretty simple. Like, got a kit. I was brewing on my stovetop, doing like extract, and I don't know. It was just fun. Like, I did one batch, and it wasn't super difficult. And I wouldn't say I'm a great cook, but like that whole process was, really fun. The beer that came out was pretty good. And this was when I first started getting into craft beer. And yeah, that's, did a couple kits and then became obsessed.
Yeah, I repurposed, like, my husband got a kit and he made it. It was okay, but I took it and made cider with it for a couple years. And then I finally did like a steep in the bag kit, and it was really fun. And I was like, all right, I can do this.
Yeah.
And Tyler and I met at was it Boomtown?
Yes, a brewery. Yeah.
Okay.
So that led to me joining a homebrew club. Because I was like, I need more people to like nerd out with this about. So yeah, we are both in SoCal Cerveceros. It's a homebrew club based in Southern California. I think there's actually a couple people down by you, Trent.
Okay.
That are in the club. And yeah, me and Laurie met it was my first meeting. And I was like, hi. It was fun.
Yeah, we got on pretty good then.
Yeah, it was fun. And there was actually a couple other girls there too. And I was like, okay, this is rad. Like,
yeah,
I wasn't expecting, I was just expecting a bunch of little like farty dudes. And I'm like, I don't know. So yeah, I think we hit it off like very, very quickly.
Yeah. And then, it just came from there for sure.
And then, so where did the idea of the podcast come to be?
Well, we would have just late night homebrew conversations. Really, I mean, my husband would be like, who are you texting? I'm like, it's Tyler, just on and on. Or, we would go to homebrew club meetings, and her and I would just chat. If someone came in to try to get in the conversation, get out of here. Like, you're not. And then it was like December 2019, we were like, let's do a podcast. This is before all the celebrities did podcasts. And so we started thinking about it. And then about like a couple months into it, we recorded our first one. So it was really cool.
That was a rough episode.
We recorded it twice because
it
was painful.
Because I don't know, like, so we went into it like, well, we don't want it to be too structured. We kind of want it to be a chit chat, and that can only be so like good, right? It's like you're sitting with your friend talking, like this is gonna go down 1,000 tangents.
Yeah.
Right.
And you know, I think we recorded for like over an hour, and I was like, this is crazy. Like we need some structure.
Yeah.
So you started doing little outlines, and it became a little bit, you know, yeah, a little better.
Right. Yeah. And if I remember correctly, Tyler, you told me you had some like video production or photography background. Did that kind of help in starting the podcast?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, I actually have a degree from college in television production. So that's what I did all before even getting into brewing and stuff. So yeah, it definitely helped with, you know, getting microphones and recording and editing. I guess I think that was the biggest thing. I was like, oh, I know how to edit.
Yeah.
I can edit this together pretty easily. So
right. Yeah. So how long until we get the Brew'd Up YouTube channel?
Oh gosh.
First of all, I want to say I struck gold as with Tyler as a podcast partner. She's like super organized, and she can handle the technical side of which I cannot. And it's really we work really, really well together. I think so.
We make a good team.
Yeah.
Nice. Well, if it ever happens where you do want to start a YouTube channel, we would gladly welcome you, because there really is like no female homebrew YouTubers. There's maybe one, and there was Flora Brewing. She was posting for a while, but there were really lacking in female YouTube brewing.
You should reach out to her. Is she okay?
From what I gathered, she started like a brewery, and she got into some like copyright issues, but I don't know whatever happened with that.
Yeah, the Fontaflora thing.
Yeah, yeah. So
starting a brewery sounds terrifying. Like honestly, you know, people are like, when are you gonna start yours? I'm like, no. I like brewing. I don't like running a business. It's like really difficult.
Yeah. Paying bills.
Well, I'm sure you see like a whole other side of it too, like being there, and
it's crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't
know. YouTube. I don't know. We'll see.
I mean, even like with Josh in the Homebrew Happy Hour, he just posted the podcast. You know, you guys could do that.
Yeah.
Maybe we can take all our content from Patreon and put it on YouTube, because I honestly feel guilty charging people, but.
Oh yeah, well that's a good point. I was going to talk about your Patreon. What do you guys do over there? Are you guys doing like exclusive content and stuff like that, or?
There's some exclusive content, but it's mostly just the video of us acting a fool, and then we have a couple friends that give us $3 to $5 each, and we appreciate that because it pays for this like the editing software that's super expensive.
Yeah, right. Nice, very cool.
Yeah.
Josh says, and we get dozens of viewers.
Dozens.
That's just kind of the way of
that sounds good, Josh.
Of YouTube these days, you know. But it's for the love, right? It's all for the love, and for the beautiful people that are out here tonight watching us ramble on. What about any future prospects for the podcast? Anything exciting you guys going to do on that? Any guests that we can look forward to coming up soon?
We are flirting with a mead lady. We're trying to nail it down.
Want to talk to somebody about, maybe a couple people about barrel aging. So if you guys have any recommendations,
Step forward.
Yeah, I think it would be cool to have somebody on to talk about, you know, somebody that does like sour and, you know, Brettanomyces wild yeast aging, and then also maybe like big stouts, crazy adjuncted stouts and whiskey barrels and stuff like that. So we've got topics. I think we're
just looking.
We just need to find people.
Yeah. I mean, the first person that comes to my mind is Gnome Brewing. He's got a YouTube channel. He does a lot of barrel aged and adjunct stuff. So I would check him out.
Gnome.
Yes.
Coming to find you.
Yeah. Nice. Well, I mean, if you have any questions out there in the chat, be sure to let us know. We're just going to like hang out for the next, 15, 20 minutes. But what do you guys got brewing here? What's that?
So it suddenly got dark.
Yeah, I noticed it got really dark. You're like in the dark.
Just slowly disappearing.
Drinking alone in the dark with my video chat friends.
What are some things that you guys have never brewed before that you would love to brew?
Ooh.
A triple.
A triple? And what's holding you back?
Yeah, what is? Wait, I thought you did brew a triple. What did you? I thought you brewed a
Double.
Belgian something.
Twice.
My bad.
I know, but then I discovered that I like triples, so now I have to do a triple. That just sounds like a lot of grain, right?
Right. Yeah, but you could do like a reiterated mash where you mash one time and then pull the grains and mash again. It is a lot of grain, but if you have a smaller system, that's one way to do it.
You could do a small batch, girl.
I have like a dirty secret to. I have like a dirty secret to share.
Go ahead. You're in the dark room. Share your dirty secret.
This is nasty. I still really do not understand decoction.
Oh, yeah. I mean, I don't do it.
Like, you don't understand why people do it?
Like, I don't get it. Like, you pull liquid out and then you put it back in or something?
You usually like boil it, right?
Yeah. So you mash in, and then after a certain period of time, and you usually kind of mash in like a
you've explained this to me like 3 times already. I still don't.
Okay, I'll make it super simple. You mash in as per usual. You take like a third of that with the grain and liquid, and you put it in a separate kettle, and you literally like direct fire, like cook it, boil it. Bring it to a boil. You boil it for however long you want, and it's just, I don't know. It's like 4 flavors
in the liquid.
Yeah, so you have to like constantly stir it and agitate it so it doesn't like burn. But then you add it back to the mash, and that'll boost up your temperature. So if you're doing like it's kind of a step mash. It is a step mash. But yeah, I haven't done it. I've done a iteration of it where I just pull liquid from the mash and not actual grain, and I think that's just probably called a step mash. But is it worth it? I don't know.
Yeah, you should try. You should try doing a decoction and see if it's worth it.
Try it. Just try it. Just do it. People swear by it, and I love that.
Yeah,
if people do a decoction. Do they? Like on my system, I have to go in and like boil like another 3 or 4 gallons and then put it in later. So they just put all the water in at once.
Oh, because you have the grain father.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, actually, it would probably be easier, right?
Right, because then you could like get like a spoon, or how do you? Okay.
Yeah, you wouldn't have to sparge or anything.
Yeah,
I don't know. People with the single vessel systems, let us know what's popping.
Yeah.
The apartment brewer just did a decoction video not too long ago. He uses like the claw hammer supply, so it's like an all-in-one electric system. But yeah, he scooped it out into like a separate little kettle and then boiled that on the side and then added it back in.
Oh, yeah. I could do that. Okay.
Give it a try and let us know.
Wow, we just uncovered like a mystery. Hold on, I'm gonna turn on the light real quick.
Yeah.
She's disappearing into the night.
Tyler, what about you? Something that you've always wanted to do?
Yeah, I would love to brew a Munich Dunkel. Like super boring, but I love that style of beer. I don't know why I haven't. It's like slightly intimidating to me because I feel like there's a malt character that's like so specific with it. It's like specifically like kind of like bread, breadcrumbs. It's like such a pleasant malt character, and I feel like it would be easy to go too crazy, like go overboard with it, make it too like kind of like malty sweet or whatever. But yeah, it's a good style. I'll try it out. It's probably the perfect time right now. Nice dark lager.
Yeah, it sounds great. I also like Schwartz beer. That's a good one too.
Oh, yeah.
I have made a Schwartz beer, and I need to make that again because that shit was fire. Oops, sorry. We're not allowed to cuss on that.
No, you're good.
All the baby ears out there.
No, all the children watching. Yeah, no, we're good.
Homebrew channel.
I've always been curious about like those like really wild fermentations where it's like you add some like weird yeast to it or bacteria and it ferments for like months or years. Like what would you call that? Like a lambic or something like that. I've never done anything like that. Have you guys done anything similar to that?
Not me, but I know
Yes, you
somebody
have.
who has.
Yeah.
That's his main jam. So, but no, personally, no. I think.
I thought you guys did one together out at your dad's place.
Oh shoot, that's right. Yeah, that's right. So my dad lives in Temecula, so close, like out there in the middle of freaking nowhere. He lives on a farm, a ranch, whatever. But so we brewed a batch, brew in a bag, use like aged hops and stuff, and then overnight just put a kind of mesh, like a mesh bag, like a brew bag, over the kettle, put something on it to keep it there overnight. And that's like how they traditionally do like that, spontaneous fermentation stuff where the microbes from the air come in as it's cooling down and inoculate the wort. And then, we put it in a carboy the next day and we're like, all right. And we've done it twice. And actually we were talking about bottling it because both of them have been sitting for quite some time. And I don't know how it tastes.
Yeah.
I'm kind of scared, but
that's what makes me nervous. It's like you wait months and months and months and then it just tastes bad. Like
it definitely fermented and it definitely smells like you'll know if it goes off, like it stinks. But like ours smelled kind of like, like a nice hay kind of, it smells like, fresh land, I guess. I don't know, like the fermentation. You're like, okay, this is probably okay.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know. Maybe I'll give it a try at some point and just not have super high expectations. Or I could always try like blending it. I feel like a lot of people do like the blending at the end or whatever. Yeah.
I did one and I left it for like 9 months and I didn't think it didn't taste bad, but I just thought it tasted like lifeless,
Yeah, right.
And I dumped it. And then I posted that I dumped it like on our Instagram and someone's like, no, you need to wait like 2 years. And I was like, oh, yeah. So
that's dedication.
I guess I screwed that up.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, it's like also like, where are you putting this? And if you like I live in an apartment, if I move, it's like, I got to move this giant carboy of weird, funky hay beer.
Yeah.
The thing just breaks on the way to your new place. Okay,
all of your cars.
Yeah. I feel like I talked about this with you when I was on the podcast, but have you ever brewed a graph, which is like half beer, half cider?
Yes.
Oh.
I brewed a graph and I won 3rd place at the Canarchy competition.
Ooh.
And I believe the reason why I didn't win 1st place is because at the time they were just maybe afraid of cider, or the idea, it was a competition put on by 3 weavers. And anyway, I made a graph or a malt cider and I've done it a couple times and I think it's really super delightful. Highly recommend.
What did you do anything like unique? Did you pick like a unique beer style or did you just kind of...
I've done it before with the Saison yeast, super good. And I've done it with more like I wanted it to be like kind of a malty, like a cream ale, a English yeast. And that was the one that got 3rd place at the Canarchy comp. I was really proud of that.
Nice. It was just like 50-50 apple juice and beer?
Basically. Yeah. And I tried to do some research on that style. It's like a lot of people will say, oh, it comes from like a Stephen King novel. It's described as a Stephen King novel. I also found someone wrote about how they researched it, like maybe a style made in China hundreds of years ago. I was like, whoa.
Interesting.
So yeah, I haven't like looked into it recently. I know there's just so much more information on the web now, but I highly recommend, a malt cider or graph. Super fun.
Yeah. I did. What's that?
Sorry, go ahead. I'll ask you a question after you're done.
No. I've done a couple of them as well. And it's very super interesting. Actually, I did a collaboration with somebody else and we spun a wheel of like the 99 beer styles. And then we each got picked like a different beer style to pair with apple juice.
Oh, that's fun.
Oh, cool.
Yeah. I mean, I ended up with a Brut IPA. So that made for a really interesting graph, but it was like a fun, like experiment.
I bet that was good.
Yeah, it was interesting.
So Trent, when are you gonna ferment some like Four Loko? And
Ooh.
Yeah, I know. I've been talking with Charlie. He has Golden Hive Mead. He's the channel. He fermented Mountain Dew not too long ago. It completely went viral. And he just did.
I think I saw that. Yeah.
He just recently fermented like Monster Energy drink or something like that.
Yeah. Dude, honestly, I was like talking about, because there's a brewery that's close by me that they started making like this Kool-Aid seltzer. And it tastes just like the red Kool-Aid. It's super sweet. And I was like, hey, I want to make some Capri Sun seltzer.
Yeah.
And this was like 2 months ago. And then I freaking see your thing like a week ago. I'm like, God dang it, you beat me to it.
Yeah.
But that's so cool. Did it like, I haven't watched the video yet, but did it taste like Capri Sun? Like for real?
It tasted just like Capri Sun, like a sparkling Capri Sun, basically.
Yeah.
What I found out in doing the video and fermenting it is that like they kind of changed the recipe from when we were younger, and it used to be like full sugar, and now it's like 50% of it is monk fruit, which is like a non-fermentable sweetener. So I would say like I think it ended up like 3%. It wasn't like super high alcohol content, but it still had that back sweetened monk fruit sweetness to it. So it was interesting. It's not something that I would make repeatedly, but it was a fun like experiment to try. And
that's fun. That's cool.
Somebody asked me, when am I going to ferment oatmeal? We'll see. Yeah, there's something called Sowens. It's like a fermented oatmeal drink. Yeah.
Okay.
Like a naturally fermented oatmeal drink.
Trent, have you ever made a grut?
No, what's that?
It's like a old timey beer, but not hops are used. Other.
Oh yeah,
herbs.
yes, yeah. Like the
Middle Earth.
I haven't like intentionally made it. I like accidentally made one.
Oh, go ahead.
So I was I did a challenge. I challenged myself to brew using only grocery store ingredients, and I didn't have hops there, so I got like I think a sage and rosemary, stuff like that. Use like herbs and stuff to make it. Yeah.
What were the results?
It was okay. You know, I would love to do it again. It was more just like challenging myself to think outside of the box. I think I used like pumpkin puree and maple syrup and oats and like a few other like cereal things to try and get it. It was more like thin bodied and not super tasty, but it fermented. It made alcohol. You know, like you can do it using just store-bought ingredients. So,
that's crazy.
Yeah.
You're so creative, dude. You
hops at the supermarket.
You said there should be?
Yeah, there's like so many sugar cereals. There should be like a little section of at least like some Cascade.
Yeah. Or I would be surprised if it wasn't at like Whole Foods, like in like the tinctures or something like that. You know,
I think
like,
we should manifest. Oh,
You're
smart.
like holy pops. That'd be interesting.
Yeah. I don't know. Well, it feels like so many homebrew shops are closing these days. I don't know if by you there is
Yeah.
many.
Well, the one that I worked at is closed.
It was great.
Wow.
There's like
So there's like one in LA now. Like how many?
There's no homebrew shops in the city of Los Angeles.
Wow.
But there's
one in
couple
Woodland
in LA
Hills. Yeah, up by where I am at.
Yeah.
And then there's one in Long Beach still, right?
yeah, Long Beach and Torrance
Okay.
and Anaheim. I have never been to that
Yeah,
one.
Windsor Bottle Supply or whatever. They're cool. They have like a tap room and stuff too, which is nice.
That's cool.
Yeah, it's really sad. Like I feel like I quote unquote grew up in a really awesome home brewing time. Like, you know, there were stores, the stores were bustling, busy, you know, homebrew clubs were like active, and it's just like, I don't know, you know, like maybe we're all going online, like buying online or, you know, talking online like this. But it's definitely changed a lot over the past few years. I mean, would you agree?
Yeah,
For better or
totally.
for worse, like more stuff is available on Amazon when it comes to.
Yeah, I wouldn't say for worse, because I mean, yeah, I mean, there's stuff that's still available and people are still, becoming friends and having a camaraderie over this hobby,
Yeah.
whether
Yeah.
it be online or whatever. But
Yeah, it's like in some ways it's easier to get started than ever because you can just go
yeah,
online and order everything you need, but you do lose that kind of like in person. Even though I've been in a few homebrew shops where I felt like I was made a fool.
Say no more. Yeah.
But there are other ones that you walk in and they're very willing to help you and like explain things. So it's kind of sad to like see the good ones go, and hopefully
for sure.
But it's a weird age. We live in a time where you can learn anything you want on like YouTube or through podcasts. And I don't know.
And
I
keep
feel,
going to breweries. Keep us alive.
Yeah, for sure.
People are like, stop drinking beer. It's like, that'll be the end of the world. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I know. And they keep saying like the younger generation's drinking less and less. Do you feel like it's going to ever change? Do you think there's going to be like if there is going to be like a new craze, what do you think it's going to be? Like, is there going to be anything in the home brewing world that's going to shake things up?
I mean, I don't know. Honestly, like the stuff you're doing, like peanut butter and jelly and Capri Sun, and like it's just fun, like
right.
Being able to put these really awesome flavors into a beverage, an alcoholic beverage, and making it like less, so like serious. I think that's like the key to keeping this hobby alive, honestly, in my opinion.
Yeah, I think there'll be a full circle moment.
For sure.
I think you're gonna find a homebrew kit at Whole Foods.
Yeah,
I am surprised that like Costco doesn't have one. Like you would think Costco's got one right up front or something.
I've seen, and I don't want to like say brand names, but I've seen like kits that are now available that you literally just like mix freaking powder and water and you make beer. I'm like, ugh. But I'm like, you know what? I mean, look, if that's gonna be someone's like step into it, so be it. It is the future, right?
I mean, that's kind of how I started. It was like with those Mr. Beer kits. Like I wasn't making great beer, but it got me interested enough to like take the next step. So maybe something like those easy mix new kits that are coming out. Maybe that's the way to get new people in. I don't know.
Yeah, I feel like home brewing saw a really big like bulge and excitement around 2020, obviously. And I think things will cycle back in that direction,
I like it. I like your positive thinking.
Yeah.
Positive.
All right. Well, we're coming up to an hour. It's been an hour already. If you have any last minute questions here, go ahead and drop them in the chat. I see there's a couple here. Let's see.
I have a question. Where did Laurie go?
Yeah. Are you still there? TJF asks, do you have favorite glassware for homebrews? Is there a glassware you go to? Yeah.
I love this apple-shaped wine glass without a stem.
Nice. You just use it for everything, or you use it specifically?
Pretty much everything.
Yeah.
And I also I know all homebrewers have like a bunch of tasters, but one of my favorite things is like I'll be cooking food and my husband will share beers. So we both have 2 tasters out. And so we're just like, trying different things. And I think the taster glass, when people make like a slightly larger taster glass, I really like that too.
Yeah, that is nice. And you can have more beers because you're having smaller ones.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Deceitful.
Yeah.
Their own flight. Yeah.
Do you have a favorite glass, Tyler?
Not particularly. Like I like using like a tulip style. If they're clean, I'll use that. But I have I have a lot of different kind of glasswares. Like I randomly have like the Nonic kind of like English style. Mm-hmm. I just have like kind of standard 16-ounce stuff. So whatever's clean, I'll use.
Yeah, right. I've been like using the Kolsch glass for like
that's cool.
A lot of things. I mean, it's just like a straight. It's basically, it's basically like a flower, like what you put flowers in, essentially. But I like it. I don't know. Something about it. It's a little smaller. It's not like a full pint. So it's like,
Fancy.
yeah, I feel very fancy when I drink it. Yes, the Kolsch Stange.
Stanja.
Yeah. Well, I think that's about it. I mean, I want to thank you for coming out and joining me. Hopefully it wasn't too...
Trent, this was so cute. Thank you.
This was fun.
Yeah. Well, if people want to get a hold of you or watch your podcast, where should they go?
To your favorite podcast platform, which is hopefully a mainstream one like Apple or
Spotify.
Yeah, and check out our Instagram.
Yeah, it's Brew'd Up, like BREWD. So at Brew'd Up Podcast is their Instagram. And my personal Instagram is at Tyler's Brew. Simple. And yeah, Laurie, I don't know if you want people to follow you or not, but maybe not.
I jumped off Instagram for a little while, so it is Lollytrom, but I'm a hot mess when it comes to that kind of stuff, so I'll figure it out. Trent is featuring the purple light. Is that for Brew'd Up? That's our color.
Yeah, I'm glad you noticed. Yeah.
Yes. Thank you.
Yeah.
That's good.
Well, seriously, I want to say again, like, I do love your podcast. I feel like I just do. I feel like I'm hanging out with you when I'm listening to it. It's very chill and yet still educational. It's always good when you have awesome guests on. I'd love to come on again at any point.
Yes, absolutely.
So keep doing what you're doing, and hopefully someday we can see you on YouTube.
Also, and congratulations on all your subscribers. It's super rad.
Yeah, thank you.
I mean, home brewing does have a hero, and it's you now. So yay!
Thank you. Oh, look, I'm 2 away. I'm 2 away from 70,000.
Follow him.
Click that like button.
All right. Well, cheers. Thank you, everybody in the chat, for joining us.
Cheers,
and
everyone.
I will see you next month with another